Thank you. Students, a compelling and eye-opening set of insights. Yeah, another round of applause for our students. So before I open it up for questions, as I'm sure there are many for our students, I would like to take a few minutes in closing to raise up some key recommendations for change that we've heard from the students this afternoon. Certainly, as the students have said, there are no shortage of concrete steps that you can take to help reverse the flow of the school to prison pipeline, but we'd like to leave you with 4 major suggestions where you can begin to make a difference right now. First, among other themes, our students have raised up the persistence of racial and economic segregation in our nation's public schools as a root cause of the school to prison pipeline. But it doesn't need to be this way. There are continued efforts in New Jersey to end segregated schooling, for equity in school funding, as you've heard, and a long-standing campaign in our state to change patterns of residential segregation. We urge you, as Strong Seppi and Awesome Alyssa have said, to reach out to your state legislators and let them know your concerns. It's an action that takes very little time, but with big impact. As our students have also pointed out, you can also partner up with local advocacy organizations, and where that resource guide is right there on that table behind Professor Shoemaker. Welcome back, Professor Shoemaker. There are many organizations on that list that work on issues directly related to ending racial segregation in our neighborhoods and in our schools. So second, our students have raised up the problem of zero-tolerance disciplinary policies that criminalize students and particularly target students of color, and here again, it doesn't need to be this way either. Around the nation, many cities and some states have taken successful action to zero out zero-tolerance policies, and we could be one of those states in New Jersey with your help. Here again, we're about to start a new legislative cycle. You could reach out to your legislators and say, as our students have said today, invest in our children's quality education rather than in their criminalization. Third, our students have raised up the tragic link between zero-tolerance policies, youth incarceration, and adult incarceration, and again, the disparate impact on kids of color. You could get involved right now, right today, right this second, because we have with us Mr. James Williams from the New Jersey Institute of Social Justice. The Youth Justice Campaign has launched the 150 Years is Enough campaign. It's a campaign that is intended to do just that and to provide alternatives to incarceration for our youth, to support community programs for our youth that are in distress. It's named after the anniversary this year of the 150th year of the opening of the first youth prison here in our state. So don't leave the room, right? We have folks that can get you plugged in immediately, and I hope you will stay and talk. Fourth, our students have raised up the need to expand rehabilitation programs inside prisons, particularly access to higher education. Right now, as you learn, few people inside prison have access to study beyond a high school diploma or a GED, although some of you know that has not always been the case in the U.S. But the good news is that there is a national movement to restore college programming in prisons, and thanks to Commissioner Lanigan, thanks to Director Jean-Baptiste, New Jersey is actually leading the way in that regard in the form of the flagship program that you've heard about, NJ-STEP, which offers an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree in select New Jersey facilities through a consortium of colleges and universities in our state. At the moment, however, New Jersey STEP, as you heard, is not offered at New Jersey State Prison, and Monmouth University is not part of the New Jersey STEP consortium. However, we could be. And we have, I might add, our own university president, President Gray Demena, is right here in the front row, so we should thank you in person again for your support of the program. And we think it would be fantastic if the students at New Jersey State Prison that you have met here in spirit today could be brought into that consortium. We certainly would welcome your support as we work with our colleagues here at Monmouth, as we work with our colleagues at the Department of Corrections, as we work with Ms. Stokes-Little right there on the front lines of the facility to get our university further on board for credit-bearing courses, and also to continue to promote the fantastic transformative learning opportunity that our students here and inside have had the opportunity to participate in. thing that I would like us to think about before we leave, and I should say, by the way, if you're faculty in the room and you'd like to get involved teaching, please do come talk to Dr. Novak and myself. I should also say, if you're a Monmouth University student and you'd like to be in the next cohort of students that have an opportunity to take part, for sure let us know before you leave the room. We are offering another prep class over the summer. I know you probably figured out your schedule. It can be changed. It can be changed. All right? So, you know, all right. But as I said, we would like to leave you with at least one big idea before we hear what your big ideas are. In a democracy, public institutions like schools and prisons belong to the people, by definition. This means that we all are responsible for what happens inside those institutions, good or bad. So at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, what kinds of schools, what kinds of prisons do we want for our nation? Do we want for our families? Do we want for our neighbors? Do we want for our friends? It's our responsibility to make sure that schools and prisons are the institutions that we want them to be for a truly healthy, a truly safe, and a truly just society. And we all hope that you'll get involved.